Hello and welcome to another edition of Toys from the Attic. For today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at Transformers Titans Returns, Ptero, and Overboard. Then I'm going to take a look at Overboard here first, because as you can probably tell, he's just a repaint of Crash Bash and Clobber from the first wave of these guys. With the only difference really being this kind of bone marrow white plastic and this dark blue. I will say that I do kind of prefer this color scheme out of all three of the little guys that share this mold design. It does harken back to the first original version of this guy, which he turned into a little T-Rex and a tape cassette, and he was one of Soundwave's little minions. So I do like the fact that they're bringing this guy back. I also kind of like both of these color schemes going together in most other toys, so I am a little biased on this. I will say that his little Titan Master is kind of hard to get into this little spot right here on the back of his bird mode, but once you do, it's a really nice tight fit, so you're not going to be afraid of him actually falling out. As for the little Titan Master, there's no little extra paint detail on his face, so any little accessories or sculpting in there is kind of lost. I hope that can kind of be picked up there with the light and everything. It's a standard fray with these little guys. Arms move up and down, legs move forward and back. If you flip him around, he turns into his little Headmaster mode. And you can see that's really just a remold of Crash Bash right here. I'm going to leave him right here though, because we're going to transform him into his little T-Rex mode next. Just get the little peg right here in the top part of the T-Rex. It's the same standard transformation as Crash Bash and Clobber, so yeah. Turn these wings into the little chest. It wants to keep coming forward. There we go. Move that one there. Move that one there. Move the legs around. Move that tail kind of up, or the bird head up, and there you go. He's now in his fierce little T-Rex mode. Oh, jaw wanted to separate right there. There we go. That's a little bit better. So yeah, he's just this cute little T-Rex, and I do like the little Decepticon logo up here. It stands out a little bit better than Crash Bashes or Clobbers. And just with the same as the other guys and all the other little Titans Returns guys, you can just move his legs down like this, pull this part down here, and now he's a little triple barrel gun for any larger Titan Master to actually hold and use as a weapon. So this is this little guy. If you missed out on the first wave of this mold and you want to add him to your collection, I definitely would say he's the better version of this mold, so yeah. Alright, so here we have Ptero, or is it Ptero? I'm not really quite sure on the pronunciation of this little guy. I think I'm just going to stick with Ptero. He's one of the first new little molds in these little mini Titans Returns figures, and he forms this cute little pterodactyl, which I think is actually kind of interesting given the fact of the little mini Titans figure's head that he forms. Reminds me an awful lot like Swoop from the original Generation 1 cartoon, which is kind of interesting because Crash Bash, who formed a little T-Rex, reminded me of Grimlock. I'm wondering if they're just going to try to sneak the rest of the Dinobots in this line, which, if I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't mind. Now, before I go into his proper pterodactyl mode, yeah, the little Titans Returns figure, it's the same articulation, arms move, ball joints, knees bend, blah, 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 blah. You've seen that before. And you can also see that there's very little paint detail on that face, so any little detail is lost in that gray plastic. It's kind of a bit of a shame, but oh well, I'm kind of used to it by now with these guys. Now, to get him into his proper pterodactyl form, you're going to bend his legs, put him in like so, get that little head right in the little slot that's under here, move this seat down, then just get the legs down like this, and there you go, he's now in his proper pterodactyl form. His little wings can move up and down, so you can pretend that he's flapping his wings if you're going to. His head can move forward, so it almost looks like he's yelling like, "Caw, caw," ready to take a bite out of some Decepticons, so that feature is actually pretty neat and much appreciated by me. Now, to get him into his gun mode, which I think is actually, it's a very interesting gun. You just fold his wings back like this, move his head around like so, then bring this part around to perform the handle, and there you go. It's this sideways aiming triple barrel gun with the one barrel being right here on each wing, and then one being right here on the front part of the nose cone. I kind of would have preferred it if the handle was down here, then you could kind of pretend it was some sort of crossbow if you really wanted to, but a sideways aiming gun is, it's unique, it's interesting. It's actually kind of funny to see it in the hands of any of the other larger Autobots. There you go. So you have them with a highbrow up here, so it's like, yeah, it's kind of an interesting weapon if you really hold it out like this, and then if you have it down to the side, it's going to be longer than some of the guy's legs, so yeah, it's interesting, I'll give it that. Now, to get him into his vehicle mode, we're going to actually take him out, like just how we got him in, so just pop him out. We're going to flip him over, keep the wings, oh, actually no, you fold the wings up like so that they're going to be, yeah, it's kind of weird. I would assume you'd keep them down or keep them out to really form a jet, but yeah, you just keep them up like this, keep the head in this position because it's going to form the laser nose cone. Yeah, so, and then move the handle back like this, so because it's going to fit into a little slot right there, and actually support the back seat. Now here's where it actually gets tricky, and if you have this guy's arms out, this is where they want to pop off. You got to get these little pegs, or these little slots right in, and these little pegs right here, so yeah. It's always kind of hard to get that in here, and it's one downside of this guy. I did it once earlier and it fit well, and then all the other times it's kind of hard. There we go. There we go. Now he does kind of look weird with his arms down at the side and he's sitting in here. I would much prefer to have his arms out, but as I said, his arms will want to pop off if I try to get him into this mode. Honestly, I think this vehicle mode is probably the weakest out of his little alt modes, the gun being the second interesting, and then his little pterodactyl one being the one I prefer the most. I definitely would say, because this guy is, well, he's actually kind of adorable, especially in his pterodactyl form. I definitely would say kind of look for this guy and pick him up. And he makes a nice altered foil, I guess, for Overboard. Here you could have the two Dinobots going, or the two little mini dinosaurs going at it if you really want to. Anyways, without further ado, this has been a look at Transformers Times Returns, Ptero, and Overboard. Once again, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed what you've seen today, please help me out by sharing, liking, or even subscribing. Comments and advice are also appreciated. Who knows, something you suggest may appear on the show in the future.